So just to all three of you, one thing that you think is an opportunity in 2018 that people should keep their eye on. What each one of you, maybe Michael, if you go first, what would you say is one thing that people should keep their eye on in 2018?
That's a very broad question. I would say that they should sort of look at the overall number and the trend of the daily movement of cryptocurrencies. When you have certain things that go up 80% a day and they go down 60% a day, that's very high volatility. That you can get burned, sort of like going into some of these mid-tier things. Like right now, there's this huge pump going on for a currency called IOTA that's now worth more than Ripple, and I think it's completely unsustainable. And you have to look at sort of the crypto economics of what's moving something, because there's certainly some opportunities in the better ICOs. I mean, you mentioned earlier that the average ICO, the good ones, the bad ones, the ridiculous ones, had a 2x return when Bitcoin has had a 13x return. But, among some of the things that I do is I started BitAngels. I'm in a number of different investment groups where we study different tokens. I advise companies, and I'm very careful about the ones that I advise to make sure they're going to be winners. And, my personal track record on the ones that I've invested in, the ones that I've advised, has been pretty good. I mean, I had one earlier this year that, had its round at 25 cents. And it's now trading at over $7. And so obviously, and I got that deal as an advisor to several funds, and they're all gleeful now because, that kind of makes their whole portfolio. It's really not throwing darts at things. It's doing, Jim Cramer, Mad Money, has been a great service to sort of the average, as he calls them, home gamer in the stock market. And you can just go in and sit back and, put something in the S&P and just wait. Buying Bitcoin and just holding it is sort of the equivalent of that. Or maybe a basket of what I call like the core cryptocurrencies, which to me these days are Bitcoin, Cash, Ethereum, and Dash. You have those four, maybe throw Monero in there. Those have been pretty steadily, good growing cryptocurrencies over the last, whole time they've been around. I mean, Bitcoin was reported by the Wall Street Journal to have outperformed every stock market, every commodity, and every currency in the world every year it's been in existence except for one. And that was the year that was 2014, when it dropped about 70% after going up 100x. So, you're still not feeling too bad if you put money in at 13, went through all the wild gyrations, and at the end of the year, you're at, 250. So, it's still 20x. Just that obviously it would have felt better if you'd perfectly timed the market at the top, which is why day trading is not good, but looking at numbers and determining when to pull things out is. On the other hand, running out of hands here, you don't want to sell too soon. I had one company that I worked with that went out at 16 cents, and I sold most of it when it doubled because I heard rumors that it was having trouble developing its product, et cetera, et cetera. It's today at $40. So, you want to basically tier when you get into an investment. Think of it as long-term. I mean, there's a lot of people who got into Bitcoin at, $1, and then, it went up to 30, and they panic sold when it went back down to $1 again, and then walked away and woke up a year or two later, and it's like $11. And it's like, well, I guess I missed the boat. And then, again, you hear this frequently. I missed the boat. It's $11. Same thing with Monero. Monero, I first heard about from one of the initial core team, and they basically said, we think this is the next Bitcoin. Here's why, privacy, blah, blah, blah. It was 60 cents at the time. I went back. This was at the Satoshi Roundtable, which is this annual gathering of the top influencers in cryptocurrency, usually on a secret island outside of the United States. It's always in a tropical resort, and it's limited to the top 50 people in space. And, a lot of people come in and present new projects. And I really liked Monero. It was 60 cents. So I'm going to go back and buy some. I went back, and it was 90 cents. I said, Too late. I did buy some, but I would have probably bought a lot more at 60 cents. Today it's $250. So, and many people are bullish about it going further. So you have to be long-term in your thinking, but sort of watch the up and down movements as potential buying activities. If you're, Jim Cramer, back to him, said if you're going to be a home gamer, he says diversify among 4 or 5 stocks and spend an hour a week, studying them, reading the reports, the earnings reports, etc. Well, here the equivalent of the earnings report is reading the white paper and reading what analysts say about it, because there are sort of some new analysts in the field. And as Richard said, look at the team, see what they've done before, see if it's just kids with a white paper and an idea, and no real investors or advisors of note on the project, or it's something that is perhaps. I think that the big trend in 2018 is the adults are coming back into the room, meaning that the ideas with white papers are not going to fly. It's going to be existing businesses that already have revenues coming in that have found a logical way of tokenizing. I worked with a company just that finished its ICO called Wax. That was similar to Wealth Migrate, building on top of an existing base and tokenizing it. And they raised $80 million, and I think they do great when they start trading. So this is what you look at. Don't be distracted by all the blinky things out there. Read it and see who else is investing from the big names.
Wonderful.